watching.
Hey everybody, it's the Mark Hope Show coming live at you from the Action Computer Studios. And our sponsor, Action Computers, has graciously provided sponsorship for the show. And we are here with a very special guest tonight, Christina from Metamorphosis Gym.
Hi, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I'm excited to be here.
I have waited to do this show forever. And I'm going to tell everybody there's going to be some stories that get told tonight, which is
One or
very,
two.
very interesting. As everybody knows, the regular listeners and the people that are around all the time with us, they I can hear that. They know that we're here to help out small businesses, and that's one of the things that we really do is to help small businesses, medium-sized businesses with all their marketing with the marketing agency, marketinghope.com. And we've been doing a lot of marketing for you guys for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And you've been doing a lot of gym stuff with us for a long time. And as we get further into, talking about what you do, I have my own little testimonial that has to do with my health journey.
Mm-hmm.
And so, as always, if anybody gets the information or misses the website or the Instagram or the Facebook or phone number, how to get in contact with anybody, we'll post that in the show notes afterwards.
Okay.
So nobody panic. If you're driving, don't try to write it on the back of your hand while you're going down the highway. And you shouldn't be watching this live video anyways. But don't forget to like and subscribe us on YouTube and on iTunes and Google Play for the Mark Hope Show web podcast. And I know you put that up for me, but I can't see what's going on.
The chatter?
I can't see in it. Just go ahead and you can handle that.
Okay.
Daniel, if you type anything in the chat module, Daniel will relay it over to us. But to get started off, let's talk about what started you off on your quest.
That is a good question. Well,
And I know it's a kind of a loaded question, too.
a little bit. So I have two amazing children. My daughter just turned 14 on Friday. And really what started me on my quest was when she was around 3. We were at a park one day and she was playing at the park and I was sitting on the bench watching her and she ran over to me and said, Mommy, come play with me. And at that time, I weighed significantly more than I do now. I've lost about 120 pounds over the last, it took me 8 years to do that. And
we'll put up some pictures later on,
on
the show notes, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But I said to her, Mommy's just going to sit and watch you play. And she looked at me and out of the mouths of babe said, you can't come play with me, Mommy, because you're too fat. And I had this moment where she wasn't wrong. She was right. And I kind of had that aha moment where I thought, this is it. I have this beautiful little girl who's looking up to me to be her role model. And I have a choice, an active choice to make in this moment in time. What kind of role model am I going to be for my daughter?
Right.
And so from that moment on, I started researching. I started looking at what can I do? How can I lose the weight? And that kind of began my journey. And it wasn't actually until about 10 years. So it took me about 8 years to lose the weight. And then about 2 years, I was still working a corporate job. Was really not loving the hours that I was putting in and wasn't necessarily able to spend a lot of time with the children. And this is
a big theme in this show because a lot of times we talk to people that are working a day job and we tell them, to be successful and to really kind of go after your goals, you have to stay working your job to support your family. I mean, you have to do the things, in the straight world that you need to do, punch a time clock or do whatever you're doing. But we call it side gigs. And you're doing the thing on the side that is your passion, and you're branding that, and you're building that up until sometimes your side gig becomes your main gig.
Right.
If you work hard enough and it blossoms enough, then you I think you're about ready to tell us.
Yeah.
That maybe that turned around.
Definitely. I feel like I hit a moment where the dam broke, and I realized that I needed to make a change for myself, for my children, for my family. So I quit my day job. And then I
started doing your side gig full
started
time.
doing my side gig full time.
Now let's talk about your side gig. You're a certified nutritionist. Let's talk about that.
So I'm actually a certified health coach, which includes both nutrition and just overall health coaching. So we kind of look at all the facets of your life and help coach you through all of that. So not just the nutrition piece, but we look at kind of 4 aspects. We look at spirituality, we look at career, we look at family, and we look at overall physical health. And so we kind of talk about how in balance are those 4 components of your life. Nutrition is sort of the other component that we look at, because we really believe that if you're not in alignment with your first foods, which are those 4 areas that I talked about, it kind of doesn't matter what secondary actual physical foods you're putting into your body. So I'm a certified health coach. I'm also a certified personal trainer. And I have some additional certs.
That leads into the kind of, you're going to make an amazing deal for everybody tonight on the show. We've been talking about that.
Yeah.
And for this show, they're going to be getting a lot of stuff for not very much money. True.
Because I appreciate, obviously, all the work that we've done. All the work that we've done together.
Absolutely.
It's been a very synergistic 2.5 years that we've worked together. Yeah. So I'm really excited. We definitely, what I'd like to see is, and to propose is anyone who is interested, once we've talked a little bit more about what I do and what the gym provides, we would love to have anyone who's interested come try a week of classes with us. And also we have a 6-week challenge coming up that starts October 14th, and we'll be offering...
This is what I can't believe what you're going to do. I mean, we talked about this, but I know that you can go join just a regular gym, and it's, I don't know, $50 or $100 a month for the gym membership, whatever it is. But then the personal training is $50 a session.
Right.
Every time you go there and you meet with the trainer, it's $50. Mm-hmm. And what you're doing down at Metamorphosis Fitness is they're going to get some free stuff because of the show, whatever. But after they get going, the price is $115 a month.
Correct.
And that's everything.
That includes unlimited classes. So we have like 25 classes a week for people to choose from depending on their schedules. So that includes unlimited classes during the week. And we also provide nutritional support. We provide help with meal planning. But the actual training,
what the people are paying around town right now for, say you go to the gym 3 times a week and you get training 3 times a week.
Right.
That's $150
exactly.
a week.
On top of your membership. Right.
Right. So that's $600 to get that personal training.
Right.
Plus your membership. And people can get that at Metamorphosis Gym for $115.
Correct. Yep.
Wow. And it's all levels.
It is. Every workout that we do is modifiable, scalable, either way. So we have some really top athletes in the gym, and we have some people who have just, started back on their journey to fitness. So they've been sedentary for a while. Yeah.
When I came to the gym,
I'm not naming names.
Let's talk about me.
So PJ jumped in and said that he thinks it's a really great deal.
Oh, good.
I'm just trying to get these across. Oh, good. Hope everybody can.
No, definitely interrupt us. We'd love to hear the audience and what their thoughts are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, there's a little bit of a lag on her voice.
Okay.
I'm not gonna really change it right now.
No,
Okay.
no.
But
I think it was all
after
that
the
wiring
break.
that we did on the
After the
in
break,
studio.
maybe we can take a look at it or whatever. But for now, everything is going the right way.
Actually, PJ is going to be on the show next week.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, that's Texas Canine University.
Ooh, you've told me about that.
They
I'm
are
excited.
awesome, and they train all the bomb dogs and the cadaver dogs, and they do a bunch of charity work with the search and rescue dogs and that kind of thing. So,
I will have to tune in because I have some very unruly canines at home.
well, they can do that too. They could do that too.
I'll take any kernel of knowledge I can get.
No, they could do that. They could do that too for sure. They did it for Bella. So,
Wow.
you know how well behaved Bella is.
Yeah. I think Bella was born that way.
She's
Yeah,
pretty cool.
Melissa, you should really tune into that show. You'll like that a lot.
She's a pretty cool dog.
Good friend of mine. She loves dogs, and it's a good thing.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
So
if
you're
we're talking about me, Big Papa got sick, and I had a bunch of health problems from some crippling diabetes that I had, and I had a bunch of neuropathy, and when I came to the gym, I was in a place where I couldn't really even walk down the stairs right. And you and I had just been friends, and we talked about different marketing things, and I was really in no shape to be in a CrossFit gym, except for just visiting you guys.
right.
Or so I thought. And then we started working on me, and that's where I learned about functional fitness.
Correct. Yeah. And that's
So it's
important.
not a bunch of crazy people doing push-ups all over the time. If you don't feel like you belong in this gym, you're wrong.
Right.
I mean, that's the main point, right?
Well, and I think that's the misconception. You know, I am an unaffiliated gym, so I coach functional fitness without affiliation with any names. And I think that's one of the misconceptions that some of the bigger name functional fitness gyms have created, is that it's sort of a all or nothing type approach, and that you're either going 150 miles an hour or you can't do this type of workout. And unfortunately, that's really a false
Well, when I
assumption.
came in, I mean, I had to brace myself to put my underwear on in the morning. I mean, I was just a mess.
You had a lot of balance.
Huge balance problems. As
Issues.
a matter of fact, one of my first workouts in the gym was on a little one of those 45 plate
Bumper plates,
weight
yep.
plates, and that was my little step up box that I used to do my steps. Mm-hmm. And then we added weights to that little routine, and stepping up and back and down, and then we worked me up to a little bit larger box with no weights, and then added weights until finally I was doing the larger boxes and the weights, and I have regained my full function. And then I had some surgeries, and I had a rehab from all that, and I lost a ton of weight when I had my surgeries.
Yeah.
And I know that you do a lot of weight loss in the gym, but I had surgeries that to get rid of my diabetes. I had the bariatric surgery, and I lost 60 pounds in 60 days.
Yeah, that was fast and
And
significant.
I lost everything.
Right.
And so I had to get back into the gym now that I'm down 85 pounds.
We have to regain your muscle mass. Yeah.
Yeah, and I needed to get in there and just kind of start doing some things to reactivate that muscle mass. And I was, for me, it wasn't about, I want to, be a football player, or I want to do, any of this really macho stuff. I just wanted to make sure that I could kind of get my body back together.
Right.
So my workout was typically I would go in and then I would jump on the rower and I would do 500 meters on the rower. And then I got 2 exercises that I was supposed to do. And they were core exercises that kind of built me up. And the rest is history. I mean, I just really, really helped me get well. And so if there's anybody out in the audience who thinks that they don't belong in a gym like that, I mean, go down there and talk to Christina and just tell her where you're at.
Right.
And it's not hard.
Well, and that's one of the beauties of functional fitness, is that it is scalable and it is modifiable to any level. I do a lot of modification for injury. I do a lot of modification for people's individual goals. So if your goal is weight loss, your workout might look slightly modified differently than somebody whose main goal is to gain strength. Those are going to look slightly different. You'll do the same workout, but you'll have different scales and modifications. And that's the beauty of functional fitness, is that any person can walk into the gym and do the workout to some degree. And everyone comes in with a very different place on their continuum of fitness.
Well, and see, I was at this other gym in town. I think it was called Banana Fitness or Great
something
Fitness
like
or
that.
Something like that. And there was no modifying anything. I was in that place, and they were just pushing me, get on the treadmill, and they were laughing at me. And, I mean, it was a bad situation.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I was trying to lay on the bench, and, I couldn't even get up.
Right.
I mean, I was like a little baby whale, and I was trying to sit up, and there was all these people in the class. It was a really bad experience, and I really didn't feel like I fit in, or I didn't feel like I belonged there.
Yeah, that's a bummer. I'm sorry. Because I feel like for me as a personal trainer, it's my job to constantly have an eyeball on everyone to see who's struggling, where are they struggling, how can I further modify. I mean, that's my job, I see, is to make sure that everybody's getting the most that they can out of the workout and the best experience, so that when they leave my gym, they're more functional in the real world. So
right.
Everything we work on is flexibility, mobility, stability, strength, cardio, endurance. We kind of package it all together. All the studies show that really that is the best way to maintain your bone mass. It's the best way to maintain your weight. It's the best way to improve your cardiovascular output. It's really kind of, one of the most compact type of workouts. You're in and out in 45, 50 minutes. And
if you're doing the long version. If you're just a beginner, you can go in your 15 minutes and then get out of here.
If 15
because
minutes.
Nobody is going to be feeling like, oh, I don't want to go down there because I'm afraid I can't do everything that's being asked of me.
Right.
I mean, you want to do more and more and more. Of course, when I got going, you'd give me my 2 exercises, and then I would just go kind of wander off and do some other things myself.
Right. Once you knew how to do them.
I was doing a little bit extra when I felt like I could do a little bit extra. Mm-hmm. And that, for me, is a huge thing. That's
one of the coolest things I like about the feeling of a functional fitness setting, is that it's very motivating for people. And once they start to see progress, then they kind of inherently take that on. And a lot of times I have clients that will up their weights, or they'll up their repetitions, or they'll work harder, and I don't even have to intervene. Right. And it's almost always in alignment with when I'm getting ready to say something to them like, I bet you could. Right. And they just sort of intuitively know, this was a little bit easy for me, next time I'm going to try harder. And it's a really great and
there's a whole thing
environment.
Where they're competing against their own personal records.
Right, exactly. We do about 10 to 15 benchmark workouts where we repeat them every 6 to 9 months. And it's really nice because everybody gets the opportunity to see how much they've improved over time. We all like numbers. We all like seeing the numbers on paper.
But I'm comparing with the previous me.
Exactly.
Not the other guy across the gym.
Correct.
And there's none of the macho, thing, or the divas are in there. I mean, there's none of that.
No, that's why my gym doesn't have any mirrors in it.
Right.
That's sort of not allowed at my gym. There's a lot of other gyms people can go to if that's what they're looking for. In my gym, really, it's about hard work. And the harder you work, the more improvement you're going to see. And the nice thing is that people become accountable to each other. A lot of my classes have been together for a year, and when somebody new comes in, they really embrace that person. And if they don't show for a couple of days, when they come back, everyone's like, oh, are you okay? Were you sick? Were you traveling? What happened? And they kind of have created a really neat community in the gym where
it is a really cool vibe. It's very positive, and it's just a really neat place to be.
Everyone supports everyone. A lot of times at the end of a workout, if somebody's still struggling to finish, people will cheer them on, or they'll join in and finish some of the movements with them, even though they've just finished their workout, because they want to be supportive and help that person through. So organically, the culture has just kind of grown in the gym that way. But
you I know, would not say anything about this, so I'm going to say it. As is my nature. But you don't just talk the talk either. Like, it was last year, was it last year or a year ago that you competed in one of these bodybuilding competitions?
Yeah, last April.
You worked out like a maniac, even more than you normally do. And then you did the diet, and you actually did the bikini thing on stage and did the muscles. And
I
all
did
that.
physique, yes.
And we're going to get Daniel some pictures.
Yes.
Of a side-by-side of when you were struggling and you were a little bit larger.
I was a lot larger.
A lot larger. And then
larger.
You would look, just fantastic.
Well, thank you.
With all the tan and the everything. And I know that's, it was just to prove your point.
Well, it was. And, a couple of things. Number one, I had a goal that I wanted to try to do that before my 45th birthday.
Right.
So I did the show in April. I turned 45 in June. So I eked that goal in before I turned 45. And then the other thing was that I have I have had clients who are really into that. Not necessarily at my gym, but, I train at other various places as well. And I've had clients who really want to get buffed and big, and it's all about the aesthetics. And I don't know as much about that, or I didn't at that time know as much about that side of the fitness industry. So I decided the best way to learn would be to just immerse myself in it.
And you did it.
And I did, for 16 weeks.
That was crazy.
It was crazy. And I learned a lot about that side of the fitness industry, enough that I can train and coach and motivate people to do it. So that was nice. But it also, I think, re-solidified my faith and belief in functional fitness and how amazing functional fitness is for your overall health and well-being.
Because that's the real passionate interest at the
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. We can build pretty bodies.
Sure.
That's achievable. But the nice thing about functional fitness is, like I said, it is for all ages, all sizes, all abilities. My oldest member is 78 years old, and my youngest member is 22. And so I have this vast array of goals, ideas, physically active people. One of my members, her main goal is to just be able to chase her grandbabies around the yard.
Right. Absolutely.
That's her goal. So she comes 5 days a week. She does a modified version of the workout, but she's there. She's 73, and she chases her grandbabies around the yard, picks them up, is functionally fit.
And go ahead, Daniel.
Charlie Gordon Lorenzo chimes in and says, it takes a lot of discipline to do that.
Charlie's a beast.
Oh, yeah.
She was one of my great friends in New Jersey, and she gets in the gym and works out, and she's a beautiful young lady.
It does.
But she knows, she's also in the medical industry, and she knows what it takes to get people in there and get them fit and get them, back on track.
Right, and bodybuilding. If you were referring to the bodybuilding,
no, she was talking about the functional fitness, I think.
Because the bodybuilding...
She didn't say. She just said it takes a lot of discipline.
It does. It does. The bodybuilding especially, the last week of chicken and asparagus, 5 meals a day, was probably one of the roughest things I've gone through in my life.
Because that's where you strip off all your body fat.
Right. And the diuretic, the asparagus is a diuretic, so it helps you shed all that water. So by the time you step on stage, you are just dehydrated enough that you don't pass out, but you have no water between your fascia and your muscles, so you look more defined and bigger and more muscular.
I have some other friends that are into that besides you.
Yeah. It was an eye-opening experience. I'm glad that I did it. I learned a ton about myself, about the industry, about the discipline that it takes to get there. I have a new, renewed respect for bodybuilders. But that was my one and only time doing a show.
She came back and said she meant the competition part.
Yeah,
of it.
yeah. I was going to
discipline.
say that is a lot of, that's discipline.
See, I think the functional fitness thing takes some
It does take a lot of discipline. I think the nice thing is when you build the accountability to a coach and you build an accountability to other members because you get to know them and you get to talk. I think that makes it the discipline not quite as harrowing because you want to be there. You want to see people. You want to see your numbers on the board, and you want to see, I post all of the workouts afterwards in our Facebook member group. And, all the time I have members saying, great job, so-and-so, you did fantastic.
Now, that's a private group just for members of the gym.
Correct. Yes.
Then there's a Metamorphosis group Facebook that's for everybody that is in society can come and kind of look at what we're doing.
Yes, Metamorphosis
so there's
Fitness
two different groups.
Denver.
Okay.
Correct. That's the main page. And that's where my Instagram feed feeds into the Facebook page as well. And that's where I'll put recipes or workouts or thoughts, ideas, memes, support, anything like that.
And for anyone listening and watching the live, the Metamorphosis Fitness Denver is linked in the title. So if you want to check that out, just click on the link and it'll take you to the main public page so you can learn more about it.
Perfect.
Good.
Thank you.
And feel free to join that page and kind of check in and ask any questions. And it's such an unbelievable deal. I just, and the location is perfect. It's Colorado Boulevard in Yale. Mm-hmm. It's right next to the computer store.
It is. And
it's just right there. Anybody in Cherry Hills or Greenwood Village or DTC or, it is a very, very great location. And to be getting this kind of value for that kind of price, especially with the coaching, when it's like, hey, I need you to come in, I need you to do these 2 exercises. Right. I need you to do this, and you're going to make the progress, and you're going to be able to, get out of your Corvette without looking like an idiot, falling on the ground and trying to do a half of a push-up.
Well, it's even things like picking up the dog food bag from the bottom shelf at, the store and throwing it over your shoulder, throwing it in the cart. Those are all functional movements that we do every single day. Taking dishes out of the dishwasher, putting them up above in the cupboard. Those are all movements that we mimic in the gym. We get your core strong, we get your body strong, we work on your stability, your mobility, and that helps you be more functional in your everyday life, whether it's just household chores or if you're a triathlete. So we kind of run the gamut.
Give you a little confidence.
Right.
Oh, no, it's snowing. Am I going to be able to take care of myself? Mm-hmm. Or maybe you've got some parents. Let's face it. If mom and dad need a little bit of encouragement, they can come down and they can buy some kind of a guest membership for them, or a gift certificate or whatever, mm-hmm. and just say, hey, look, let's get you down here, Mom, just so you can stay home longer.
Right.
I think that there's armies of people that are in nursing homes that if they would have taken advantage of a functional fitness program, mm-hmm. they wouldn't have fallen. They wouldn't have had that problem. Right. They wouldn't have had that thing that started the downhill mm-hmm. outlier.
Right.
And even if it's $115 a month and they come in once a week, just to kind of work on that functionality and balance like I did. If mom or dad has better balance, mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the member that I was talking about previously, who's 73, that's the whole reason why she started functional fitness, was because she had osteoporosis, and her doctor said, you need to start doing weightlifting, and she thought, I'm in my late 60s. That feels absurd to me. But she found a gym and she started working out there. And then when I opened my gym, she became a member of mine, and she has significantly improved her bone density and her bone mass since doing that, because she does do, a weighted workout. And I think that for her, that's one of her big motivators, is that she knows that as long as she's doing this functional fitness, she has the strength to open lids and pick things up and move things around, and she'll be able to live. Tell her kids
that she's not going into the nursing home
independently.
And just screw off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Be strong enough to write you out of the will. Hold a functional pen.
That's
trying to get me over to the old folks' home.
Well, my 78-year-old client, when she first started with me, she was on multiple medications and oxygen at night. And we've managed.
Now, is that my friend that I see in the morning?
Yes.
I love her.
We have managed to turn that around, and she actually, her oxygen levels are normalized now, and she doesn't need oxygen at night anymore. She passed her sleep study. She doesn't have sleep apnea anymore. She's down 40 pounds, which is phenomenal.
And her attitude is just unbelievable. Bella and I go in 10:30 in the morning, and it's her workout time. And if I see you guys in there, I always stop in and say hi. And this lady has just the best attitude.
She's a spitfire.
She is, and she deserves to have that life. She deserves to keep going.
Yeah.
And what a wonderful attitude.
Especially because she's a cancer survivor.
I did not know that. I did not know that.
Yeah. So she has even more zest for life and even more motivation to want to stay healthy as long as possible. She's been working out with personal trainers for the last 17 years.
Yeah.
So, she's pretty amazing. But she's off her oxygen.
Let's talk about the nuts. How do you like that segue?
I was searching my brain. What?
I was on a very, very strict regimen of proteins. That's what I had to eat, 80 to 100 grams of proteins a day, and I had to drink 60 to 65 ounces of water every day. Mm-hmm. And, I had kind of gotten into my groove and just really, lost a ton of weight and just was really strict with my program. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the key to what I did. You just have to stay loyal to what you're doing. You can't, eat what you feel like you can get away with. Mm-hmm. You need to change your life. And that's what happens down at the gym.
Yeah. My approach to nutrition is that every single person is a bio individual. So what works for me may not work for you, may not work for Daniel. So one of the main ingredients that every diet utilizes, it's universal across all diets, is that if you want to lose weight, you operate in a caloric deficit. So you consume less calories than you burn on a daily basis. All right. The challenge is that a lot of people go in too much of a deficit and then they dampen their metabolism. It's almost like a fire. You have to fuel the fire with wood in order for it to burn hotter and brighter and to be more effective.
Right.
If you starve it, it dampens, it cools, and it doesn't work as well. So that's kind of one of my big things.
Charlie says, food is fuel. It's a mindset.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's true in my case.
Yeah. So every diet is predicated on caloric deficit, you lose weight. Now, there are multiple ways that you can split your proteins and carbohydrates and fats. Everybody burns it slightly differently. So I am a big proponent on fueling the body, feeding your body, doing it thoughtfully, and constantly checking in with yourself. How are you feeling? How are your clothes fitting? I'm not a big fan of the scale. As you know, I always tell people,
I do know that.
I always tell people, stop weighing yourself on a daily basis, especially if you're not doing anything to try to mitigate your weight, because then it just depresses you.
One of your breakthrough clients actually smashed her scale outside.
She did. She smashed her scale. I told her that she needed to stop weighing herself, because really at the end of the day, how do your clothes fit? What is your energy level? What is your mood? How are you sleeping? Those are the really important things that matter.
But I mean,
we
you get
will
depressed.
check your
That's
measurements.
what you told her, right?
Yes. Well, because she was weighing
How
herself.
does it make you feel every day?
Right.
You get on the scale and you feel like crap every day. I mean, why start off your day that way?
Well, she wasn't managing her food. She wasn't exercising. It was literally a habit where she was just reinforcing every day that nothing had changed.
And feeling like crap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, let's get back to the nuts.
Let's get back to the nuts.
I'm doing this protein thing, and they're telling me, hey, look, don't worry about calories. Don't worry about anything. All you got to do is make sure you get enough protein in, because you're on this rapid keto downslide because of your surgery and all this stuff.
Right.
Well, I did really well. But I got stalled at about 195, 200 pounds. And So I came, talked to my coach, and I was saying, well, here's what I'm doing with my meal plans, and here's, basically essentially what I was doing, and this is how my mind works. I mean, I just do the thing that works. So my weekly meal plan looks exactly the same. I have the same thing for breakfast every day. I have the same thing at 11 o'clock. I have whatever. And then, so in talking to Christina, we figure out that, yes, I'm eating nuts, but I'm eating way too many calories full of nuts, and that's the problem.
Right.
And it wasn't a huge thing, but I just stalled out, and I wasn't really that worried about it, but I was thinking, well, maybe this is the size that I'm going to be. And so I did a review, and she sat down with me and she said, well, what about this and what about that? And what are you eating with? How many of these are you eating? Well, how many of these nuts are you eating at your mealtime? And then I got to, when I was checking in, I mean, it kind of unearthed some things and was like, well, it's not really a mealtime thing. I mean, I just, they're salty and they're crunchy and they're good for me and they're kind of the good, they're not bad for me. And so the coach was like, hang on a second. Hang on. They are good for you. However, it's not celery. And so she got me some 100-calorie packages of nuts. And I opened that first package of nuts, and I was like, oh, words I can't say on television.
It's not as much as you think it is.
It's not anything.
Yeah.
It's like the crumbs after I'm done eating the nuts is left over for the 100-calorie nuts. So I immediately stopped eating all the big Costco thing of nuts. I took all the baggies out of my drawer and out of my coffee table and all that stuff. And I realized what was going on because of the nutritional check-in session.
Right.
And I dropped 10 pounds in the next month without doing anything else, without worrying about anything else. It's just sometimes you don't know what you don't know. And you need somebody like you to say, hey, look, let's keep exploring what you're doing. And it's never a good or a bad thing. It's just, where are you on your journey?
Right.
And you're the guide.
And that's my big thing, is that I always tell people this is no judgment. A lot of times when they bring their 3-day food journal into me before we start their nutritional and meal planning, they'll bring it in and they'll always go, oh, I'm so sorry, this looks terrible. And I always say, this is a judgment-free zone. It is what it is. This is arming you with information. Here's your breakdown of your calories that you're eating per day. Here's the breakdown of the fats, the carbohydrates, the proteins. This is what it is. Here's where we'd like you to be. And let's talk about how we get there. And that's really what it is.
But you kind of need to have that environment so that people can be honest.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Not only with you, but with themselves.
Well, and remember the other thing
if
we
you're
did.
eating the cupcake, you got to write it down.
True. And the other thing we did with you, if you remember, is we talked about the chocolate. And we talked about instead freezing
right.
protein bars, cutting them into little squares. So then you still feel like you're getting that sweet.
And that was a great alternative.
Feel like you're getting the cheat, but it's a protein bar. So
Right.
you're getting, the nutritional profile on that is much better than, a half a chocolate bar. So.
Right. And I think the coaching, a lot of times when you're starting off, whatever information somebody gives you is worthless to you because you're at a different place.
Mm-hmm.
So, you might discard that information as useless when it's just you're not ready for it yet.
Yeah.
Once you get further on down the line, then you're like, oh, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. I understand about that now.
Right.
And then you get to apply that at that moment. But a lot of times you may have forgotten, or you say, oh, I'm trying to apply this and it doesn't work. Well, it doesn't work yet. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just go and just, run 5 miles when
Right.
you're 277 like I was,
Yeah. It takes commitment. It takes a lot of commitment, and it takes a willingness to learn and a willingness to adjust your frame of mind. And sometimes that's hard for people. So
But that's why I can't believe the deal, because people go to these gyms and they pay for the trainers and they do all this other stuff and they fail because it's 80% kitchen, 20% gym.
Definitely.
And when you get to be my age, advanced, elderly folks, you know, it's probably 95%.
Definitely,
kitchen.
the older you get, it is much more about diet.
You know, I'm not Michael Phelps. I'm not, you know, burning 15,000 calories in the pool and then just eating whatever you want to.
Right.
Especially, you know, you need to watch what you're doing to kind of keep yourself, you know, in balance.
Well, and we have to remember that as we age, we also have hormone changes. And those hormone changes affect our metabolism. So, you know, when people say, oh, the minute I turned 30, I noticed a difference, or 40 or 50, that's really true because you're having a shift in the hormones and the chemicals in your body. So your metabolism is going to be affected by those shifts. And so that's one of the things that I work with a lot of my over 50 clients is, yeah, you're not 20 anymore. You can't eat a pizza and 4 beers and not feel the effects of it. And, you know, you might not see it on your body, but that's why you feel sluggish at workout today because 2 days ago, that was your dinner. And so I think that one of the things that's nice about having a trainer and a coach is that it's a good reflection. I try to be as much of a mirror as I possibly can for my clients, just to say, what I hear you saying is, or I feel like what you're saying is, and a lot of times it's just having that person to bounce your ideas off of. A lot of my clients come to this information on their own.
We all do. We have the internet and we're looking things up, but you know, and it's just like the nut example. I mean, that's what I love about that because I immerse myself in whatever I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know, and I had everything in front of me, but I couldn't see the forest for the trees on that one particular thing, so I needed to talk it out like we are right now.
Right.
And you know, a lot of people I think they get stuck because they don't have a whole solution. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, they're working out like crazy or they're walking like crazy. They're putting in 10,000 steps on their Fitbit or whatever, and they're gaining weight. They're you know, it's not working. They're getting frustrated. Well, I'm walking and
right.
You know, I'm not reaching the goals that I want, which are I want my pants to fit right, or I don't want to buy another suit, or whatever. And then that tiny little shift, because it doesn't have to be an all or nothing thing.
Right.
You know, it's just those little shifts, and it's a lot about education.
It is
as much as it is what you're giving up.
It is, and that's the thing. You know, my biggest. If members or clients or potential clients who meet with me for a consult, if nothing else, what I want them to walk away with is 2 things. Number 1, deprivation never works. You cannot deprive yourself of everything because if you do, you're not going to be successful in a long-term situation.
Right.
You'll be successful short-term, but you won't be successful long-term.
And that's where the boomerang thing comes.
Exactly. And then the second... The second thing that I want people to understand is that your metabolism doesn't reset every day. So people who stick to really strict regimens of, I have to have this many calories a day and this much, and this is what it looks like, and they're very regimented and they freak out if they fall outside of that caloric intake, you know, they're doing themselves a disservice because really your metabolism is cumulative. You didn't get to where you are overnight. You're not going to fix it overnight. So people tend to get really frustrated, and I have to remind them, your body is cumulative. It's still holding on to food that you ate 3, 4, 5 days ago, processing through your cells. That's what's giving you your energy. And so one of the things that I have to keep reminding my clients is, let's look at things on a weekly basis because that's a lot more cumulative to what's happening to your body than what's happening tomorrow versus the next day. Your metabolism doesn't reset at midnight. A lot of people wish it did, including me.
Well, but the other thing is you can't ruin it in one night either.
Exactly.
You know, you make a mistake and a lot of people feel like, oh, I've blown it, so I might as well just forget it all. But if you come back to the gym and you're in your metamorphosis, which I love the name of that gym.
I do
because
too.
we're changing.
I'm a little bit married to the name. Well, and for me, it is. I call it pillage the village. Don't pillage the village just because you had a slip. And if you had a slip, be mindful and say, over the next 3 days, I'm going to do A, B, and C to rectify the 3 pieces of cake that I had at the party last night. That's not a judgment. That's not bad. It's teaching people to be mindful of what's going into their body so that they can make adjustments to the future nutrition that they're going to have over the next few days to make sure that they're adequately compensating for what they had. And that's a skill, and it takes time, and you can't get frustrated. I'm here to help. If you hire, a nutrition, support person, that's really one of our main goals is how can we keep you on track in a way that you're able to be successful long term, because diets, by definition, don't work long term. So eating well, having good nutrition, having meal planning, all of that is sort of sustainable and long term, and that's really where you're going to see your most significant amount of change and your most sustainable amount of change.
And there's a ton of education that comes along with it.
Oh yeah.
Like, how do you eat in a restaurant? Well, what are you talking about, Mark? I know how to eat in a restaurant. Well, maybe not. Mm-hmm. Because, some of the things that I had to learn was, I get a to-go container every time I order my meal. Mm-hmm. And the first thing I do is put half my meal away, and then I work on what I got left.
Yeah. And there's a lot of eating out tips. Some of the things I talk to my clients about are, if you're going to get a burger, almost every restaurant that you'll ever go to, if you ask for lettuce instead of a bun, almost every single place will put your burger in between 2 pieces of lettuce so that you can kind of eat it almost as a wrap.
Right.
I think you and I have talked about most restaurants have an allergy menu.
Right.
And the allergy menu tends to be a lot less carbohydrate heavy, just because a lot of people have wheat allergies. And so you have a lot of good gluten, wheat-free options. So if you're kind of challenged by what's on the menu, one of the things you can always do is ask for the allergy menu, and that tends to have a lot healthier choices.
And I teach a lot of financial classes, personal finance classes and debt relief stuff and lifestyle and life coaching stuff. And it's interesting where those lines cross, mm-hmm. because you are doing a disservice to your wallet if you're in the restaurant all the time too.
Oh yeah.
So if you're trying to save money and you're trying to get healthier, mm-hmm. those things go hand in hand, so, yeah. way better.
Yeah. And that's one of the things.
Stay out of the restaurant.
Yeah, for sure. And that's one of the things that we work on too when we do our nutrition planning, is talking about how can we maximize our food on a smaller budget. So I do a lot of coaching on how to buy things, how to freeze it, how to preserve it, how to take an inventory of what's in your fridge when you're doing your meal planning to make sure that you're utilizing all the food that you've bought so you don't have a lot of waste happening. People think that eating clean and eating healthy equals a lot of expense, and that's not necessarily true. It takes work, but...
And that's where the meal prepping and that kind of stuff gets in. And that's how we learn.
Right, exactly.
Because everybody doesn't know exactly how to get that done.
Right.
But step by step, we could get taught that at the classes, right? Yeah,
and I also teach classes after hours. So after all my classes are finished, I also teach like Nutrition 101 classes where we go over how to do shopping lists, how to take inventories in your fridge, how can you do meal planning on a dime, things like that. Cool. So I have a 4-part series about Nutrition 101, Nutrition and Beyond, and where we talk about a lot of those things. And that's free to members as well.
It's an incredible deal.
Well, thank you.
It's an incredible. It changed my life.
It was important to me to provide a service for people who may not otherwise be able to afford a service.
Yeah.
There's a lot of functional fitness gyms. The market is saturated with them. And on average, it's about $150 to $160 a month to have memberships at those places. And
but then the coaching is extra.
Well, the coaching is extra, or they don't do a lot of the coaching. They
Right.
don't do nutrition support. They don't do body analysis, body fat analysis, measurements. So that was one of the things.
If they come down to Metamorphosis Gym, they're part of the family, right?
Oh yeah, for
And
sure.
if they're putting in the concentration and the effort, then they're
gonna see results.
get taken care of.
And they're gonna see results quickly.
And especially people that were like me that were struggling,
Right.
And they wanted to get their lives back. I mean, that's, it's a call they should make. What's the phone number?
The phone number is 303-885-6146. And then I also, email is a really great way to reach me as well. And that is the gym name, Metamorphosis Fitness Denver @gmail.com.
Give me that phone number again.
303-885-6146. Yeah.
And the wonderful Jana is doing your new
Yes.
version of your website, and that's going to be ready tomorrow, maybe.
Correct. We're in the middle of uploading images and launching it actually as we speak. So it should be finished uploading and ready to go by tomorrow morning. And that's metamorphosisfit.com. But like I said, it's kind of in the middle right now of being tweaked and uploaded.
But I mean, the social media is very responsive. If
Yes.
you go on the Facebook, we'll get right back to you.
Mm-hmm.
They can contact the show, and
Yeah.
all they have to do is just reach out a little bit. We'll get them started.
Yeah. And again, we have that 6-week challenge starting October 14th. It's going to go for 6 weeks. You can do the virtual version, which is you do meal planning and nutrition planning. We meet virtually once a week, and you get 3 workouts in home.
Okay.
If you can't make it to the gym or you live too far away. And that is $75 for the 6 weeks. And then we also have in-gym, which is 3 classes a week, plus all the nutritional support, one-on-one meetings, face-to-face, all the nutritional help and support. And that is $159 for the 6 weeks. And so, yeah, which is a great deal for those two. And then...
Show them the book.
We just got these printed today. These are very exciting. So these are food logs. So this is how we... Oh, yeah, it's kind of hard to see, isn't it? These are food logs. There we go. We just got them from the printer today. And it's a way for when you're doing your 6-week tracking, programming, it allows you to track all of your food. Sometimes it's really hard to keep an electronic version. So this is nice and small, can fit in your purse, can fit in your car. You can track all your food during the day and then upload it in the
And that
evening.
happens to me.
Yeah.
I don't get on my FitnessPal, right when I'm eating something, and then I get lost, I get behind. If I could just jot it down like that and then
Right.
transfer it at night, that's what.
And I do that
works
every
for.
day, every single day. Yes. Every single day I tell myself, oh, as soon as I get out to my car, I'll record that latte I just downed. And I never do. I always forget. So I actually made this for myself originally because I was terrible at recording stuff. And, here I was telling everyone, make sure you record everything. And I wasn't practicing what I preached. So I actually made this originally for myself. And I loved it so much that I decided to create it for my members. So now this is something that when you join the gym, you have the option. You get the first 30 days worth of these, which is here for free, and then it's like a nominal price. If you decide you like it and you want to keep it, you can purchase them, and they're super inexpensive. And then all my 6-week challenge members get these as well, including a bunch of other things.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, it's just fantastic what's going on down there. And
Thank you.
I just really encourage people to go down and check it out. And as you're rewatching the show, we get a lot of rewatchers that can't watch us live. So Daniel will get all the information in the notes and everything.
Perfect.
Anything else that you wanted to talk about on the show that you didn't get to talk about?
I mean, no. The only thing I can think of is one thing I didn't mention. If anyone's interested, on October 26th, if I can plug it, we're doing a pumpkin workout. So the entire workout is with a pumpkin. We'll have various sizes, weights, everything. It's a $12 fee, and you get to take the pumpkin home with you afterward. And then one of the things that we're going to be doing at the end of the workout is we will have great big pumpkins that we will smash with sledgehammers. So
oh, fun.
See, I would do it for the smashing the sledgehammer.
Exactly.
I'm
you can smash pumpkins and not get in trouble.
A mess.
But we're really excited about it, and we're calling it's the Great Pumpkin Workout. So if you're interested, let us know, shoot us an email, give us a call, and we'll get you registered.
But there is definitely that kind of camaraderie down at the gym. I mean, you kind of get your family going down there. And...
It's in all ages, so children are welcome to that workout as well.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, it should be good. We're going to have all sizes of pumpkins, so there's definitely going to be the right pumpkin for every person that's there.
So I have a question for you, probably for the listeners on the show, is if there's someone out there, and there definitely is someone out there who's listening and they want to join, but maybe they're nervous or they're not, they're saying, well, I don't know if I can do that. It sounds like a big commitment, and I'm, overweight and I don't have time, or I'm tired or whatever. What would you say to that person?
The one thing that I normally say is the biggest weight that you're ever going to lift at my gym is opening that front door. That's the biggest, most bravest thing you're going to do. It's intimidating. It's scary. I know it. I know it takes effort. But once you're through that threshold, the vibe and the culture in the gym is bar none. I have clients that are all shapes and sizes, and I mean all. And every single person has dug deep, found that strength to open that door and walk through. And if you can find the strength to do that, we will take it from there. Everyone can do our workouts.
And nobody needs to know how to use any of this equipment or the rubber bands or whatever. I can attest to you guys that, they will show you exactly what to do, and you'll, it's so much easier than you think it is.
Yeah. And, one of my specialties, one of the things that I specialize in is people who are obese. Anywhere from, obese to morbidly obese. So that's my specialty. I've been there. And
that's what I love about that. I love that. I love the idea of, somebody who has been there helping me, and not somebody that's, oh yeah, you can eat whatever you want to, and, gain weight. Okay, great. Fine.
Yeah, we've talked about that on this show before, getting help and advice from somebody who's walked the walk and actually lived that life, instead of somebody who's like, a speculative person who's never been there.
I've taken the journey, and, I will say I have a new client that I just took on last week. He needs to lose a considerable amount of weight, and it was really humbling because one of the things that he said to me was, I've been looking for a trainer like you for years, because everywhere I've gone, the trainers have always been in shape. They've been athletes. They've been really fit, and that sort of, they don't quite understand where I'm coming from being an obese person. And so I think it was nice because we could identify with that feeling of being the fat kid in the room and having people judge us and not feeling comfortable in our skin. And so we kind of had that camaraderie. And, he came today to work out, and I gave him 2 movements. He did 2 movements plus the warm-up.
He's on the Big Papa program.
And that was good, and that was good for him. And when he comes back on Wednesday, he'll do 2 movements. I might throw a third one in, depending on how brave he's feeling and how sore he is. But this is really incremental. It's baby steps. I meet you wherever you are. And it's okay wherever you are. There's no judgment. Once you walk through that door...
And you're going to be really sore.
The rest is...
It's good. It's a good thing.
It's not going to seem like very much, but then all of a sudden you're going to be really sore and you're brushing your teeth and you're like, ouch.
T-Rex arms, yes.
Yeah, but it's so good. It is so good. And Daniel's right. We have talked about that on the show before, And we talk about how powerful the peer-to-peer counseling is, you know, especially when you're dealing with addiction, or you're dealing with overeating, or you're dealing with, you know, drugs, alcohol, other kind of behavior modifications, whatever. Having somebody that just went to college and wants to preach to you is not as successful as a bunch of people being in a room together saying, you know, we all did this. We all faced this. You know, we all got through it.
Right.
You know, that's why talking to a woman that has breast cancer, talking to a bunch of her sisters that have already gone through everything and made it through and have triumphed, is a lot more
meaningful,
empowering than some doctor who's a man who's never experienced anything. Yeah, sure, okay, you got the education, great. I need to talk to somebody that, you know, like in my case,
has walked in my shoes.
You had crippling diabetes. You injected 30 units a time, 9 times a day. You thought you were going to die on the dialysis machine. Some doctor telling me, oh, you know, you should do this or that. Well, you know, it's easy for you to say. You haven't been there.
Right.
You know, those are the people I want to talk to, and that's why I do all the volunteering that I do, because if somebody needs to hear my story and they're in my place and you have diabetes and you need to beat diabetes, you can come talk to me. You can message me on the show. I will personally go over to the gym, introduce you to Christina. We'll get you on a program, and you can save your life from dialysis. And that is what's going on at this gym for everybody, and not just me. But there's people like me that are at that gym that had a hip replaced or whatever, and they need somebody to help them through, but they also need to talk to somebody down in the community of the gym and say, look, you know, I did that. Yeah. And it was hard at first, and I had to wear a cane, or I had to do a thing or whatever, but then you get there, and that's the real beauty of the place. Not taking anything against you.
No, that's,
you know, because you have your own journey, but right. I mean, people get together down there and they help each other.
Well, that's the whole point. That's what I was hoping to build when I opened the gym, was really a supportive community of like-minded people who were willing to help each other out. And it's grown into that, which for me is amazing to watch. I mean, I can't take credit for a lot of what happens in that gym, because the gym has just sort of organically grown its own mind and culture, and I love that. I love that. That fuels me every single day. It's part of why I continue to do it.
Yep. Well, marketing Hope as a business encourages their people that they work with, that we work with, as we promote businesses in the community, to do charitable acts in the community. And you know, it is something we strongly suggest to the people that we're promoting. We will not have anyone on the show that isn't participating with charity in the community and helping people. I'm going to save that for your next time that you come in.
Okay.
And maybe next time you come on the show, you can bring along somebody that works out in the gym. And we can talk to them on the show, and let the callers call in and ask them questions and stuff like that. But then we'll talk about some of your charity things that I know you do.
That'd be great. In conjunction
with the gym and some of the Wounded Warrior stuff that happens, and you know, some of the other really neat things. I think we're running out of time. Daniel's giving me the signal, but
the stink eye.
on the next show, we'll talk about some more fun things. And
I would love
much
that.
For coming in.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to.
Well, I knew this show was in you, and there's more. There's more coming, but it's such a beautiful organization. It's done so much to get me back on track personally, and people that I know, that I just couldn't really wait to do this show, and it's better than I thought it would be.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Very well.
Thanks everybody for listening to the podcast, and like and subscribe us on the YouTube channel and the iTunes and the Apple Play, wherever you listen to the podcast. The Mark Hope Show. And thank you so much for all your love and support. And we will see you next time.